All right, we have a 3-part lesson today, so this is the first video of 3. Starting section 10.2a, which is solving quadratic equations by graphing. We learned last week how to graph quadratics, and we did that just by plotting points. So you made those giant XY tables, and you plotted all the points, and you found the vertex, and you made all these parabolas during the explorations. Okay. Today we're going to talk about why we do that. Why are we trying to graph these? What are we trying to find when we're graphing them? And that would be their solutions. Okay. A solution for a quadratic equation, something is considered a solution when it crosses the x-axis. Okay, which is why yesterday on your exploration I had you find where it crossed the x-axis. There are 3 different ways that a parabola could cross the x-axis or not cross the x-axis. So we are going to start simply by finding out how many solutions there are. Not what they are, just how many there are. Roots and solutions and zeros are all the same thing. They're all x-intercepts. It's the same word. It's the same meaning for 4 different words. Okay. This says that roots are the solutions to a quadratic equation, and you find them by finding the x-intercepts. Where does your parabola cross the x-axis? Zeros is another way to say that because y is 0 when it crosses the x-axis. So if you think about a grid, the parabolas we've been looking at have been pretty standard. They go open up or down, but typically they cross your x-axis in 2 places, okay, because it's a U shape and it'll double around and cross again. So that would be what we considered 2 solutions. Okay, so the purple one has 2 solutions. Or 2 roots, or 2 zeros. It's the same thing, all the same thing. There's also a way, if your parabola started up here and opened up, there's no way that that is ever going to cross the x-axis. There's still a parabola, there's still a graph, but it doesn't have any solutions. I know you guys like to do the O with the line through it, no solution, that's fine too. But if it doesn't ever cross the x-axis, then it's considered to have no solutions. There's a graph, but we can't find where it crosses the x-axis if it never crosses. So in that case, that would be a no solution. The only other option is for the graph to be on the x-axis, your vertex, specifically on the axis. And then it can go up or down from there. And that only crosses the x-axis in one place. So that's considered to have 1 solution. So those are the only options we have. A parabola can cross twice, it can cross not at all, or it can cross 1 time. So if all you are asked is to find how many solutions there are, you simply look at the graph and say how many times does this parabola cross the x-axis. This is an example of when it only crosses once. Okay? 1 solution. When it is 1 solution, we call it a double root. So in a minute here, you're going to go around the room and you're going to tell me how many solutions there are. And if something only crosses 1 time because the vertex is on the x-axis, then you would tell me 1 solution or 1 root. And you would tell me it is a double root. Because it kind of crosses twice. Like it comes down, it hits it, and then it bounces back up. Whenever something changes direction like that, it's considered a double root. The vertex is the only point on the x-axis, so there's only 1 solution, but it's a double solution. There are no roots if it doesn't cross the x-axis at all. If you look here, you know that the vertex is down here, and that's the lowest point on that graph. And it's never going to go any lower than the vertex, and it's already above the x-axis. So there's no way that this parabola is going to turn back around and cross the x-axis. So this is no solution. And then the last one is the possibility of having two roots or two solutions, because a parabola typically will cross the x-axis in two places, and that this one does, so this one has two roots. So what you're going to do right now is you're going to go to your homework folder. You're going to open up the document titled 10-2B Activity Number 1. There are orange pieces or yellow pieces of paper taped around the room, and they are labeled Station 1, Station 2, all the way through 6. You're going to go to the different stations. You don't have to go in order as long as you get to all 6 of them. You look at the graph on the piece of paper, and you just decide how many times does that parabola cross the x-axis. There are only 3 options. It either crosses 0 times, crosses once, or it crosses twice. Okay? 0, 1, or 2 are the only options, and that's all you have to write for each station. How many solutions are there? When you are done with that, turn that in to 10-2B Activity Number 1, and then you can move on to video number 2.